different dead bodies of children who've been massacred in the last few days. And then right at the bottom was a photograph of Barmy Barry Obama sat on his golf cart, smiling and waving at people as he engages himself in silence over the matter. He can talk about this, he can talk about that, but we can see that he's bought and paid for and already in obeisance to them. He's already obeying to them. He's already on his knees. He's already prostrating to these Judeo-Nazis. He's already doing it, and he's not even sworn in yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's showing the world they don't want me to criticize their genocide of children. I won't. I'm going to be the coconut they want me to be. I'm going to be black on the outside and white on the inside. I'm going to be whatever they want me to be. I'm going to be an Uncle Tom. I'm going to be anything. I'm going to play golf as the new leader of the free world, so-called, whilst children and women are murdered in the markets, and they're murdered with chemical weapons that were made in my country, and they're being shot by planes that were made in my country, and they're being killed with bullets that were made in my country, and I'm going to remain silent. Well, that's as bad as firing the bullets, Barry. That's as bad as piloting the F-16, Barry. That's as bad as dropping napalm, Barry. You are the same. We know what you are. You've just become part of the enemy.
Well, you know, and you know how fast these stories go down the memory hole. That these same criminals are in the Madoff Ponzi scheme, where they're going to make the taxpayer foot the bill for their confiscation of the and the payback of their money to these South Florida investors and these criminal SOBs that lost their investment money in a down market, and they're gonna get bailed out and not tell anybody where the money went, and they're going to force abject misery and poverty on the entire American public in Canada and Europe, and it's happening in real time right around us, and everybody's sitting there going, what do I do? We know what to do. We know what to do. And you know, the other thing that this policeman said to me, and I really got aggressive. My wife got upset with me a little bit. He says, well, you know, we don't have guns. People don't have guns like in America, in Britain. And I said, yeah, Hans. But see, you know what? They've been brainwashed out of even thinking that way. They think, well, you know, it's really for protecting us from burglars. The heck with the burglar. Let the burglar take the stuff. It's to stop you from getting your freedom stolen and your Magna Carta nullified.
You know, Daryl, of the many lies that were used here in the UK to get rid of guns, you know, one was that, you know, through the public owning guns, we had gun crime, and that by taking guns away from people, we would reduce gun crime. Actually, gun crime, since guns were removed from legal ownership, has actually increased in the UK. It's actually increased. The number of crimes committed using guns has increased. And the other thing is that by making it highly punishable, like minimum of 5 years for possession and 15 years for firing a firearm, criminals who have them think, well, I'm going to be doing 5 years for carrying this anyway, so I'm going to shoot him. I'm going to shoot this policeman, and I'm going to shoot this bank staff, because I've got 5 years before I start. Might as well be hung as a sheep as a lamb. So they actually are more inclined to fire a weapon now, because there's very little difference between them possessing it and firing it in terms of the sentence. It's all worked in exactly the opposite way that we were told it would do when our guns were removed.
Yes, and you know that cities that have required guns to be held by their public, and there are several in America, crime went to zero almost in several of them. There was a community in the South that made a requirement of every adult male in the city have a gun, and they gave them carry permits to carry concealed. There was no more crime left. It went to zero. No more crime at all, period. Zero. End of story. Why? Because you didn't know if the guy across from you wanted to get cheeky with might have something in his pocket. And you know what? The criminals went for easier prey.
Exactly.
Yeah, but see, that's
the pudding is in the eating, Daryl. Proof of the pudding is in the eating.
That's right.
There they enforced gun ownership and crime went to zero. Here they removed gun ownership and gun crime went through the roof. And by upping the sentencing, saying to the public, well, don't worry, we're going to make it more dangerous for them to carry guns. We're going to up the sentencing. Well, just carrying it, I'm going to get this huge sentence anyway. I might as well shoot it. I might as well fire and kill somebody because there's not much difference in the sentencing. It doesn't work.
No, but see, the real wealth, the real value, the real need for guns in our society is to stand up against brainwashed troops and brainwashed, jackbooted police who want to use the fact that they have been part of a crime gang, the biggest mafia out there, to take over the country and do it in the name of these Nazis. We have no recourse against them. We can't stop them. See, Americans have not given up their guns. There's 400 million guns in private hands. And I'm telling the police, you know, in my hometown, 32 policemen in a town of 17,000. Absolutely ridiculous. But those policemen, you know, the public knows exactly where those policemen live. You think they're going to want to mess around with the public if they get angry? Not a chance. And I'll tell you something else. The only place that will ever work is in the larger cities. But that won't last long there either. The public needs to finally say, look, this is our country. We, the people of the United States. We, the people. This is not a we, the government. This is not a socialist. Even though they've turned it into a socialist state by fiat, it is not a socialist state in its inception, and it's supposed to be completely a free state of that the people run, Mohammed. I mean, look, the British have lost their Magna Carta. They don't even have the right to the trial rights that the Magna Carta guaranteed. What they were talking about the other day is that there's now new judicial rules being passed in closed-door sessions that if anybody who's in these sessions during the discussions of these new laws being passed in secret discuss them, they can go to prison. And in Germany, the judge actually from the bench says that the truth is no defense for anybody anymore. Where are we? What kind of madness are we living in?
You know, Daryl, the whole legal situation is one of the areas which is very important. These Judeo-Nazis should never be allowed to sit on any judiciary or lawmaking forum. That's unequivocally clear in itself.
Well, not only that, they should not be able to treat people medically. They should not have the right to be involved in finance of any type, and they should not have any right to be in government, period. End of story.
Or education.
Or education. That's right.
Absolutely. Now, Daryl, you were explaining at the beginning of the show, and you did discuss with me before the show, something that Google had been caught out on, and I'm really interested to find out more about this.
Well, you know, if you Googled Daryl Bradford Smith, put it in quotes, you'll get 15 or 16,000 hits from me. Now, this is after 5 years of doing this. I get wiped off of their rolls regularly. If you put it in Yahoo, you'll get 150,000. It fluctuates between 150 and 250,000. But Google wipes me down to 15,000 in quotes. They also are involved in censoring any video that goes up on YouTube, and they are also holding huge databases of information on everywhere you surf on the net. If you're a person or an object of their interest. So the simple fact of the matter is they're surveilling you. They're silencing you, and they are a criminal organization run out of Israel. They are an Israeli-run, a Mossad-operated business that is trying to shut down the world.
The statistics, the viewing statistics as well, to make it look like certain things were not getting the traction that they really were.
That's right. They did that to that one of the prisoners massacre where I put that up. The first 100,000 was reset to 0, and if they had left that 100,000 up, I would have been in the top 10 list, where people would have been able to find that video. And of course, they never let that happen. And then, of course, after they set it back to 0, it still got 301 or 2,000 more hits. So it's really got 402,000.
And somebody else recently caught them, didn't they?
Yes.
Or actually themselves on the net, because they'd managed to download the actual official statistics before they'd come in and change them manually or something.
Yes. Yes.
What was the story there?
Well, the guy actually took screenshots of how much traffic was going through to a video that he put up, and the simple fact was that he actually got reset a couple of times, and they had put his numbers back to 0, and so he had the same thing happen that I did.